Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on the words we use every single day. We're diving into something called corpus linguistics, and I promise by the end of this, you'll look at language in a completely new way.
All right, let's just jump right in with a little question for you. Which of these sounds more natural? She did a perfect job, or she did a perfectly good job? Now, most of us have a gut reaction, right? We just know which one sounds better. But that feeling, can it be trusted?
And that's really the heart of the matter. When it comes to understanding how language actually works, our own intuition can be, well, surprisingly wrong. To really get to the bottom of it, we can't just go with what sounds right. We have to look at the evidence, at how millions of people really talk and write. So here's what we've got on tap today. We're going to see why our language instincts sometimes lead us astray. Then we'll figure out what a corpus even is. After that, we'll check out the tools linguists use, uncover some hidden turns in our speech, see why any of this matters in the real world, and finally, look at language as what it is: data. Okay, first up, our language intuitions fail. This is all about getting past our personal hunches to find something a little more solid. You know, the main problem is that our brains are just wired to notice the weird stuff. A strange phrase or an odd word sticks in your memory, right? But the thousands of totally normal, everyday patterns that are the real foundation of how we talk, they just fly right under the radar. And that really skews our perception of what's common and what's not. So if our gut feelings aren't enough, what's the answer? Well, that brings us to the main event, the corpus. This is the bedrock for a whole new way of looking at language. So what on earth is a corpus? Well, think of it like a giant, super organized digital library of real-world language. But it's not just a random pile of text. It's a principled collection, which means every piece of text, whether it's a news article, a novel, or a transcript of a conversation, is carefully chosen to represent how people actually use a language. So what makes it principled? Well, a few key things. First, it's all authentic. This is real-world language, not sentences some linguist made up. It's also machine-readable, so a computer can sift through it. It's representative, meaning it's a balanced sample of, say, American English or scientific articles. And finally, it's huge. We're talking millions, sometimes billions of words. And that incredible scale is what lets... And hey, not all corpora are created equal. You've got your general corpora, which are kind of like a wide-angle lens, trying to capture a snapshot of an entire language. But then you have specialized corpora, which are more like a zoom lens, focusing right in on one specific area, like legal documents or medical texts. Okay, so we've got these massive collections of text. But how in the world does anyone actually analyze them? That's where the linguist's toolkit comes into play. I mean, it's a totally fair question, right? You can't just sit down with a cup of coffee and read a billion words. The sheer scale is just mind-boggling for any single person. The secret, of course, is software, and the star of the show is a tool called a concordancer. Basically, you can think of it as a super-powered search engine built for linguists. It can zip through an entire corpus and pull up every single example of a word or phrase in a split second. And this is what it spits out. It's called a key word in context view. See how it lines up our search word, in this case way, right in the middle? By showing you the words that hang out on either side, patterns just start to jump out at you. You can literally see how a word lives and breathes in the language. Another simple but powerful tool is just a basic frequency list. It might not look like much, but just counting words can tell you so much. It reveals the fundamental building blocks of any type of language. It's no surprise that, in a corpus of academic writing, words like research, data, and corpus are right up there at the top. All right, we've got the data, we've got the tools. Now for the fun part. What kinds of secrets can this approach actually reveal about language? There's this great quote from a linguist named J.R. Firth that just nails it. You shall know a word by the company it keeps. The idea is that a word doesn't really have a meaning in a vacuum. Its meaning is shaped and defined by the words that constantly show up around it. This is the perfect illustration. Take the word chair. If you look in a corpus of fictional stories, the words it hangs out with are things like wooden, empty, and leather. It's a piece of furniture, right? But now look at a corpus of newspapers. Its friends are electric, committee, and executive. Suddenly chair is about a position of power, or something much more grim. Same word, completely different company, completely different shades of meaning. These predictable word partnerships have a name. They're called collocations. Think about it. We say strong coffee, not powerful coffee. We have a heavy smoker, not a big smoker. Our language is full of these, and they show that speech isn't just a random jumble of words. It's built on these incredibly strong, almost magnetic relationships between words. Now, this is all fascinating stuff for language nerds, but so what? What's the real-world impact? Well, this is where we see how this stuff actually affects our daily lives.
It turns out corpus linguistics isn't just some academic hobby. It has totally revolutionized fields like dictionary making, language teaching, grammar research, translation, you name it.
Think about this for a second. The dictionary on your phone, the grammar checker in your word processor, they're not based on some editor's personal opinion anymore. They are built on cold, hard evidence from billions of words of real language. That means they're more accurate and a better reflection of how we actually speak and write.
This timeline really shows the whole revolution. We started with guys like Samuel Johnson using examples from classic literature. Then came the massive room-filling card catalog system for the first Oxford English Dictionary. Then, 1987, the game changer, the first big dictionary built entirely from a computer corpus. And today, dictionaries are living things, constantly being updated with fresh data from the web.
So, to wrap all this up, let's just zoom out for a second and think about the big picture. What this all gives us is a completely new way to think about communication itself. At the end of the day, corpus linguistics treats language as data. And in this age of big data, language might just be the most important data set we have. It's a mirror of our culture, our society, our thoughts. It's how we find out that, yes, she did a perfect job is common, but she did a perfectly good job is actually way more common in everyday speech. And that's just scratching the surface. So the real question is, what other secrets about ourselves are hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered in the words we use every single day?